Hi guys, it's Katie from Littleton Parks and Rec, and today I'm going to teach you how to make pasta dough and noodles at home. This is a great recipe to do if you have kids. It can be done in the afternoon, and then you can make noodles for dinner, and they're super delicious and very easy. You just start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use a mix of semolina and all-purpose flour if you would rather do that. And you're going to just make a well for the wet ingredients in the middle of the flour. You can also do this in a bowl if you feel that this is going to be too messy to do directly on the counter.
We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be.
The next thing you're going to do is start adding your wet ingredients, and you're going to add 3 eggs into your flour. And this is going to be the first part of your wet ingredients. Next, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt directly into your wet ingredients, and you're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Next, just using a fork, you're going to start to mix the wet ingredients together in the middle of the flour. You don't want to incorporate too much of the flour at first because you want to get those wet ingredients, the eggs and the olive oil and the salt, you want to get those all mixed together before you incorporate the flour. Then you can just slowly, a little bit at a time, start incorporating the flour and mixing it. Careful not to break your well or get egg all over the counter. Then when it looks something like this and it's starting to look more like a dough, you can use your hands or your bench scraper and just start pushing the rest of the flour into the dough.
Meant to be in the great outdoors.
Once it's starting to come together, you can start to use your hands and really incorporate the rest of the flour into the ball of dough. You really want to make sure everything is well mixed and even throughout. Now it's time to knead the dough. You want to knead it really well for between 5 and 10 minutes. You want to make sure that you're incorporating all that excess flour. If your dough seems too dry, you can add a little bit of water. If it seems too wet, you can add a little bit more flour until you get the consistency you want. After 5 to 10 minutes, it should look like this. It should be a nice smooth ball and be nice and yellow. I recommend that you let your dough sit for about a half hour. It makes it easier to roll out. For the sake of the video, I just went right into making my noodles. If you have a pasta roller, this is your time where you would use that, but I'm going to show you how to make noodles by hand if you don't have a pasta roller at home. You want to take about 1/8 or so of the dough and kind of flatten it out a little bit before you get your rolling pin ready. And the trick with this is you want to get the dough as thin as possible, so it takes a little bit of time, but I promise it's worth it. You want to be able to see your hand through the dough. That's how thin it should be. So once your dough is thin enough, and you want to make sure that you can see your hand through it because the noodles will swell a little bit in the water and you'll get really thick noodles if you don't roll it out thin enough. This point you want to make sure your dough is not sticky at all, because if you're folding it like I am, when you cut it, the noodles will just stick together and they'll make just blocks of dough again, and you'll have to start all over and roll it out again. You can also use a pizza cutter and just cut big long strips for noodles if you want to do it that way, or have your kids come up with their own noodle designs. This is a great opportunity for them to get creative with it.
Meant to be in the great outdoors.
Once you're done cutting your noodles, you want to unroll them pretty quickly so that they don't stick together. And then I recommend that you dust them with just a little bit of flour to keep them from sticking, and give them a light toss in the flour. And that's pretty much it. You're all set. You have your noodles and you're ready to go. You can cook these for about 3 to 6 minutes in a pot of boiling water. You want to check on them every couple of minutes until they're cooked to your preference, and then enjoy. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow Littleton Parks and Rec on Facebook and check out our website.